Welcome to Moonbeaming, a podcast about magic, creativity, the tarot, lunar living, and more. I'm your host, Sarah Faith Gottesdiener, and I'm so happy you're here. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Moonbeaming, Season 2. We're doing the thing. First of all, I have to say thank you for being here and listening and for your really beautiful reviews. I appreciate them so much. And huge thanks to everyone supporting the Patreon. I am beyond grateful to you for supporting my work and this podcast. You are definitely the reason why we can do this and making it possible. So thank you so much. I'm beyond grateful, beyond appreciative. If you're interested in being entered into a drawing to win a tarot reading with me, leave a 5-star review and we'll put it in the proverbial cauldron. It's a fake cauldron, friends. It's a digital cauldron. Anyone who has left a 5-star review gets entered, and we randomly pick from all the 5-star reviews, and I will be announcing the winner in a few weeks. I'm back with another episode around, you guessed it, anti-capitalism, abundance, some notes on business, which I think for now I'll be calling the Abundance Chronicles, which is a place to discuss the complexities of wanting to be both discerning and also acknowledge how we'd like to live and how we would like to operate and what we would like to embody, which for me is abundance. I want an abundant life. And as we all know, of course, abundance does not mean just money. Right? However, if we're talking about abundance, we do have to include money. And that's sort of what I wanted to start this episode off talking about, which is addressing a few less than general responses I got from talking about anti-capitalism publicly. Did you know, gentle listener, that basically anytime I release a thought or a piece of writing that's mildly spicy, I'm not even talking about the hot sauce, the hot sauce. I'm talking like the medium salsa especial from Trader Joe's. You know, it's a tiny little kick. Maybe you haven't tasted those flavors before, but it's definitely not the ultra hot spicy. It's like a medium spicy, you know? So basically, anytime I release one of those thoughts into the public, someone I have never met has a less than compassionate opinion about me that they feel compelled to share. And that's another Hierophant lesson, how someone's beliefs around one thing you say or write can pretty quickly propel them towards hatred or disdain. Remember, we talked about the Hierophant and belief systems. You know, belief systems are really powerful. Sometimes they'll think you're saying something different or get upset about even like what they've made up for what you're saying. You know, I've really ruminated on it, what that judgment or that quick reaction really is a stand-in for. It's also a pretty non-constructive thing to do, because guess what has never made me change my mind? A stranger coming for me rudely, personally, insultingly on the internet. Fun fact, hasn't worked yet, hasn't happened yet, but I did want to go over a few of these as best as I can and address them, because they did have a similar flavor I found interesting personally and I'm interested in going deeper on because I think a lot of folks hold these ideas as well. And I think it's always a good idea to play around with how we think about them, to think about these ideas in our own lives and come up with our take or our perspective. I'm going to explore just a few. And before I dive in here, friends listening, gentle listeners, gentle reminder, I have an MFA. I have a master's in graphic design. I'm not an economist, nor a historian, nor a business major or sociologist. I am not an expert, but I am someone who has had to think about all this stuff and research all this stuff and become informed enough about money and capitalism and taxes and quarters and S corporations and so on and so on and so on until my ears and my eyes are bleary, because I run a business and I'm really trying to do things in as much integrity as I can, while also completely understanding that because of the way the system is set up, that project being like in total integrity is going to be a failure. And by the way, failure isn't bad. I suggest folks read Halberstam's The Queer Art of Failure to rethink your ideas around failure. I would argue that failure, I'm putting failure in quotations, is a byproduct of the system we are in, which creates fear and perfectionism and shame and the idea around the qualifications of success, also putting in quotations, you can't see me, but success is in bunny ears, are so bonkers and also just made up. It's a maze. I'm not interested in entering, because if I entered, most certainly I'd be walking around in it for so long that I'd get hungry. And when I'm hungry, I get hangry. And honestly, I'd rather create my own definitions of success. So I'm constantly evolving them than to hang on someone else's. Creating your own definitions of success. Definitely something to think of. And I've had to do enough thinking and research and reading on topics of money and anti-capitalism and all of these things, so I could begin to find some language around what I was feeling in my body and in what my intuition was telling me and what also felt aligned for me, and to create distance from what was taught to me, which really is the water we're all swimming in, essentially, you know? So, as I say, probably every episode, take what you'd like and leave the rest. This episode is sponsored by Angela Mary Magick's Alta Lune collection, which is the Alta Lune Sensual Oracle cards and Moonbibi Magic Tarot. Alta Lune Sensual Oracle cards are for arousing your body's pleasure and enhancing your ancestral shadow magic. This colorful, lunar, and sex-positive themed deck is the newest offering by Angela Mary Magick, the creatrix of Moonbibi Magic Tarot, as seen in Oprah magazine. Alta Lune collection is being funded in community for community, outside of the big crowdfunding platforms, so that there can be a sliding scale option for Black, Brown, Indigenous people, and folks of color. Head to AngelaMaryMagic.com for all the divine details. I'll put that link in the show notes. It's Angela Mary, and then it's Magick, Magick.com. Use offer code Moonbeaming69 to receive a whopping 25% off everything in the Alta Lune collection. Pre-sales are live through May, and they ship to you in October. And my little thing I want to just share about Angela Mary is that Angela Mary is such an authentic magical practitioner, such an incredible witch who has been doing this for so long, who is a lifelong witch and has a beautiful family and is just completely magical and wonderful. And I consider her and her family an extended part of my family and my magical family. And what she creates and what she puts out are so beautiful. Definitely check them out. And I can't wait to see these cards in the fall. One comment I got was from someone who said, "How can you be anti-capitalist? You sell things. Your book costs $30, which is literally just not even an argument. Anti-capitalist doesn't mean you don't make money or don't charge money for your things. No one can live in a hut eating berries and be okay. Well, unless you're a mystic in the 5th century or something, but that's not me, clearly, babe. I love a bed. I love a bed with some sheets and at least 2 pillows and some vegan ice cream, okay? You know, capitalism does not equal money. Like abundance, it includes money, but it is a system and a particular framework, which is more about how we treat other people, how we make money, how we treat money, how we think about money and time and energy and labor, how we are treated at work and think about work, and how businesses and systems are set up. And. It's a system. It's a system designed to do certain things. Absolutely. Right? Being anti-capitalist does not mean being anti-money. It just means we don't want to hoard wealth or extract from other people or exploit people or exploit the earth unnecessarily, and on and on and on. It means that we don't like the system and we want to create other systems. And in fact, we're trying to create other systems around all of these topics. Another complaint or comment, I'll just say, that came into my inbox was that I can never call myself anti-capitalist because I charge hundreds of dollars for some of my products. That's true, I do. They said that I was inaccessible because my larger courses cost hundreds of dollars, my sessions cost hundreds of dollars, and because I was so inaccessible, I couldn't say I was anti-capitalist. So here's sort of, I believe, and this is, I believe, another misunderstanding. Being anti-capitalist doesn't mean being anti-money. Accessibility is a different topic. Accessibility is such a huge range that basically, if you want to be accessible to every single person on the planet, I'd have to be giving away my work for free in order to be accessible to everyone, you know? Who decides what's accessible and not accessible? You know what I mean? What many business people or freelancers or practitioners, folks who are working for themselves, who care about accessibility do is make tons of free stuff, right? Or almost free educational content, supportive content, podcasts like this, newsletters, social media posts, and so on and so on and so forth. Another thing that a lot of people do, which is what I do, is have scholarships, payment plans, sliding scale options, on and on and on, you know? Another thing that we do is provide a range of pricing. Some things that I sell are $20. Others are hundreds of dollars, you know? And that's so folks can engage with the work at all levels. Folks can engage with my work for free $99. In fact, you're doing it right now. And if folks want one-on-one, or they want more of my teachings, if they want more in-depth transformation, yeah, it costs more money because I'm putting in a lot more energy. Moonbeaming my class is 10 years of my work, actually more. So, yes, it's going to cost more money. And I know this sounds kind of odd to say, so bear with me here, but what I create and what I do is a non-necessity. My business is not technically essential. Again, this is what I do. I value it very much. I think it's awesome. Hello, this is what I'm doing. But really, any tarot reader, astrologer, psychic, Reiki practitioner, so on and so forth, it's not a necessity like food or housing is right now. Do I think healing and intuitive support and mental health support needs to be available to everyone? Of course I do. Of course I do. Unfortunately, in reality, we're not there because the US government can't even decide to vote for a $15 minimum wage when the minimum wage, in my humble opinion, in this country should have been $20 an hour 10 to 15 years ago. So we're a little bit behind here. Why? Well, many reasons, but the government's capitalist. That's why. They don't want people to make more money. And I'm anti-capitalist. I want everyone to make more money, no matter what they do or what their education is or where they live. That's just me. And on that tip, though, before I get a little bit off-railed, as friends know that I do, it's a little bit odd, in my opinion, to be coming in someone's personal inbox and to be critiquing what someone charges for something. I don't really hear about too many people going into a Nike store and saying, hey, these sneakers are $200. I want them. I need these sneakers to be $50 split up into 10 payments. Or go into a health food store and get upset about locally made oat milk being $8 a carton or something like that. I feel like commenting on how much artists make, marginalized folks make, queer people, chronically ill people, such as myself, a woman running her own business, commenting on how much I should charge for my work, it's not cute. It is an insult to my time, my energy, my experience, and my expertise. It devalues me and my labor. And real talk, I'm getting really real, I don't know that you would do this to a man or masculine person. I feel like there's some misogyny hanging out here too, to be honest. I don't know that you would put a larger business or a corporation under this kind of expectation or under this kind of microscope. But you might complain about the locally made small batch $40 candle made by a small business witch. But what people aren't doing, as far as I can tell, are being appalled at the $6 candle at Target or Walmart that is egregiously underpriced. Do you know what kind of working conditions or what kind of material most likely made a $5 candle? Not ethical ones. Friends, the fact of the matter is everyone needs to be making more. So many of us, especially those of us who are marginalized, are already underpaid and undervalued, and it's corporations who pay less taxes and control so much of the labor and the labor laws in this country. And that's the issue, not a witch or an artist or a tarot reader you follow online charging enough money to be comfortable. I want everyone to be comfortable. I want everyone to have healthcare and a home and to be safe and to eat good food and to do what makes their heart light up. I want witches thriving, artists making their art. I want everyone to be taken care of. And I'm stoked when I see a small business doing well. And I'm thrilled for my friends when they get a big grant or a nice check or receive a major opportunity. And I would hope that's what we would want for one another, whether we know each other or not. And both of these comments I received that I'm responding to here really gets at a larger point I want to make. And that's the issue of needing to see the bigger picture here. Instead of trying to reform the government or joining together to create a union or pushing for a higher minimum wage for everyone, folks are attacking one another for how they make their money or for what they're charging. We're being pitted against one another, and we spend our energy judging and projecting onto one another instead of organizing or joining together to deal with bigger issues, which is systemic inequality. And that's capitalism at work, making human beings into competitors, not other humans or potential collaborators or friends. The other thing I wanted to bring up now we're here is even the word anti-capitalist. I'm not into the word, but I'll be honest, y'all, I'm kind of over defining what I am by resisting the thing I don't like. Anti-racist, anti-capitalist, anti-fascist. I absolutely understand why it's important. Of course, I want to know if you're anti-fascist, And also, I'm thinking about how we can stop giving these things so much power, because using them and naming them still includes them and makes it difficult to step outside of binaristic thinking with them, right? For example, as I said earlier, capitalism is a collection of tenets, and these tenets have many alternatives. Like maybe it isn't anti or opposite. Maybe it's just different. And I think it's important for us to define what we are for. So we could call ourselves so many things instead of anti-capitalist or capitalist critical, socialist, communist, democratic socialist, equitable framework adapter, right relationship, and what I'm using at the moment for now as a placeholder, abundance mindset. So next, I want to go over a practice that has changed my relationship to money and abundance. Harridan is a brand new craft vodka, and there are a lot of things to like about it. It's gluten-free, it's made from local, organic corn, and it comes in a one-of-a-kind, beautiful, hand-blown bottle. But what's really interesting is that they're a small, female-founded company, and they're intent on defying the restrictive norms of the liquor industry and culture itself. That's why they named the brand Harridan. It means bossy, belligerent old woman, just like me. I recommend checking them out if you're looking for high-quality spirits that you can feel good about buying. They're currently available in-store in New York and online nationwide on their website, Harridan.com. To stay updated on when they're coming to your state, follow them on Instagram at Harridan Vodka. Okay, friends, I wanted to talk about a core tenet in my abundance practice, which is radical generosity. I first wrote about radical generosity in, 2017 in one of the Many Moons workbooks. It's been one of the foundations of my business and practice since I began about 10 years ago. And it's been something I've been sharing in these money sessions I've been doing with clients lately. It's one of the tenets of defining an abundance mindset, which is to say that there is enough for everyone. And it's operating from that space, that there is enough for everyone, including you, including me, including all of us. And radical generosity is giving from that place of trust and showing up fully and really stepping into the energy of the pleasure of giving. Giving without expectation. It's paying it forward, being generous with no strings attached. simply wanting to release positive energy out into the world. It's not about the outcome. It's not about what you think you'll get. It isn't about a means to an end. Can you even imagine people giving to one another with no strings attached because it feels good? I'm not saying you don't do that, my loves. I just mean like, what if everybody did that, Just because it felt really aligned, just because they enjoyed doing it, And on the flip side of that, really respecting someone's no to a request or someone's boundary, because this means they're looking after themselves and their energy and their needs, What would change, my friends, if we lived like that? If all of us lived like that, what could change? Also, in my personal experience, radical generosity really starts the flow of abundance in one's life. It subverts the hoarding and the competition and the extraction or the transactions of capitalism. I love creating things that aren't for sale, like some of my art. I love giving away incredible podcast episodes or newsletters packed with the kind of information so many other people put behind paywalls, because it feels good to me, honestly. It feels good to exist in a space of generosity and abundance and service. I'll never run out of original ideas or art or book concepts when I do this. It's because I share it, and it's in the vibration and the intention of which I share, which is one of love and generosity. And the other thing I kind of love that's a little bit rude about radical generosity is that it'll show you what part of your cup needs to be filled, because if you're not feeling very generous, that's a tip. It's like, okay, what do you need to address? Like no tea, no shade, no pink lemonade. It's an indicator of looking at what you need. Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe you feel like your needs are not being met, or you have to raise some of your standards, I know when I'm in flow, when I feel really aligned, I feel generous naturally. My generosity isn't operating as a scorecard, like, oh, I give you this, so in exchange I need that, and so on, And if you find yourself going there, like, no judgment, it could be like you're in your own process about something else and it's not even related to what I'm talking about, Or it could be an indicator that some boundary work is in order. Maybe you need more rest or downtime. Maybe you need more self-connection, or to prioritize doing things you really love, whatever it is. Radical generosity goes into this idea that what we really want is an ecosystem. Ecosystem is so Hierophant, by the way. We want interdependent, connected relationships over superficial transactionalism. Capitalism tries to distill everything down into transactions, right? Sure, technically many things are transactions, but relationships aren't, not authentic ones as far as I'm concerned. They're altruistic. Transactionalism, I think I made that word up too, by the way. So it might not exist except for in this podcast. It's a world premiere of transactionalism. But transactionalism can leak into our relationships and just really quickly turn into extraction. We see it in how we treat the earth, how we treat animals, how we treat one another, like a means to an end, not a living, breathing being with feelings, ideas, souls, etc. Capitalism and transactionalism turns humans into objects. And that's where you see theft, where you see copying. It's rampant. My work, my ideas have been stolen 1,000,000 times over from people who feel entitled to it or don't even think it's wrong because they're so in the mindset of transactionalism. They're so in the mindset of capitalism that they think they can just take a screenshot and do whatever they want. They think they can take a concept that someone's sharing and turn it into a class or a newsletter or something like that. And that's why citation is feminist. It's spiritual as well, which I will absolutely have to have another episode on this topic, I'm sure. Interdependence, connected interdependence also means we know we are all connected in some way. So it's important how we treat one another. That energy travels, it flows, it comes back to us, Like, think about it. If you're mean to a waiter or like a cashier, it could ruin their day, It could ruin the rest of their shift. Capitalism also just reduces people to being a waiter or being a cashier or something like that, Human beings become this means to an end. They become a label so that you can flatten them, right? Not people with dreams or kids, family members, skills, intuition, their own life's purpose, all of these things, and so on, So just being mindful of how you treat folks and why, choosing relationships because of mutual respect and affinity, because you just simply relate to and enjoy one another, People can tell when you don't see them, when you just see what they can give you. As someone who is very frequently approached by people, you can usually see when someone's looking at you through a lens of, what can this person give me? What can I get from this person? What are they going to do for me, right? And again, when we operate like that, we lose intimacy and authentic connection. And when we lose that, people are these objects instead of these living, breathing, sacred beings. And so then it's really easy to do things like steal from them, copy them, rip them off. We do things like act like we're this bootstrapped individual who has learned and done everything ourselves, We don't situate ourselves instead of a context of privilege or inside of a lineage. Folks don't cite their sources. They act like they've come up with everything on their own, or they think it's okay to not pay people well, or ask interns to work for free, or abusive to each other at work, and on and on and on and on and on and on and on. We could be here all day, really. And for folks who say, well, everything's a transaction, we're living in capitalism, we just need to be in capitalism. We can get into some nuance, Maybe everything is an exchange. Maybe everything is a dialogue, and being mindful of how we operate within those dialogues and those exchanges, whether money is being traded for a service or something else, I think is key. What expectations are you putting on people, especially when money is involved? Amazon and all these other kinds of the customer is always right models really diminish workers' humanity. In my anti-capitalist business, the customer is not always right. We do not tolerate abuse of any kind. Our studios have policies that we operate from, and they're small business policies. They're not, whatever the customer wants or needs. It's like we have policies set up so that we can operate because we are such a small business, And some of those policies, honestly, are like how people treat us. We have on our website, you can look, we have FAQs, or we have our studio policies, which is like, we don't tolerate any kind of abuse. If anyone's being rude to us, I'm sorry, but we're not going to talk to you. That's just not how we operate. If you're a small business owner or a freelancer, or even not, I think about that. What are you putting up with because you think you have to, because it's this cultural norm, What would change if you thought about your sales as less of a transaction and an exchange that would have to feel okay or equal in some way? Just something to think about. It's something I think about and touch base in, And this is also where we can get into right relationship with abundance, with being enough. In our magical practice, we have a relationship with the elements, with deities, with spirits, with our ancestors, Our relationship with money really is the same. If it helps, you can imagine the energy of money in a way that helps you. Maybe money is your friend instead of your enemy. Maybe money is just a useful tool and nothing more, nothing less. Maybe money really likes you and wants to help you out because you look so good and you're doing such a great job. So define what you want your relationship with money to be, and then get practical about changing that relationship a little bit every day. Personally, I am wanting my own contained sovereign money mindset. Like being in right relationship, that's my goal. That means not based off lies. Someone told me about my worth. That means being clear about what I need and not having money control me or control my decisions. You know, I give away a lot because it does feel good. And also I'm always sort of touching in with that and how it feels and if I need to shift that. I'm in a state of that right now, actually, around my work. And it's always useful to touch in here and there. You know, for me, it also has to do with having money or not having money has nothing to do with how I view and treat myself. It means basing my worth off my inherent existence, basically, you know, I'm just here and I'm basing my worth off my sacredness, my inherent divinity, not what I'm getting paid, you know? It means not having transactional relationships or really trying hard not to have transactional relationships, you know? And when money is involved, paying people well and also not working for amounts that don't make sense for me. I could be here all day with the tenets of my own personal right relationship. But now I'll ask you, what does being in right relationship with abundance, with radical generosity look like for you? What would it feel like? Can you commit to taking a couple of steps each week, little by little, so that you might move that needle 2% a week, maybe 5%, until you're in a healthier or more aligned relationship with generosity, your energy, money, and abundance. I'll do more episodes about how I think about business and how I run my business. Definitely. I'll probably include maybe even some tarot, some magic. As y'all know, I have so many more things to say about this. I have pages and pages of notes of ideas for future episodes. So if you're liking these themes, these abundance chronicles, let me know and I'll be sure to do more. And if you're still here, I'm facilitating an abundance class next month. It's for my former students only. If you've taken a class with us, email the studio. And this is totally an abundance work thing. I need smaller, not bigger. I need smaller, more intimate classes right now. Sometimes abundance means less, right? Less of one thing so you can have more of another, you know, less of one thing so you can have more time or more energy or a deeper connection, you know? And also, I am going to be dropping a downloadable workshop around money in just a few weeks. I'll announce it when it's live. And if you're on the newsletter, that's when you'll first find out about it. So hop on the newsletter. The link is in the show notes. And if you are interested in the abundance class, shoot the stewed an email. We'll add you to the wait list because we will be running this class again. A lot of people have expressed interest. So we will definitely be running it again. So that's it for this week. If you like this episode, if you're feeling radically generous, share it with a friend or two or three. Support me on the Moon Studios Patreon or sign up for the newsletter. I am wishing you so much ease, so much sweetness, so many blessings, and I'll be back next week with an amazing interview with one of my favorite people on the planet. So stay tuned. Until soon. Moonbeaming is brought to you by the Moon Studio. It is created and hosted by me, Sarah Faith Gottesdiener. It is edited by the incredible Caitlin George Parker. Additional support is by Stella Hartman. Music is by Will Owen and myself. If you like this podcast, you can support us by going to Patreon/The Moon Studio and becoming a patron. You can give this podcast 5 stars wherever you listen and also subscribe. We'd love it if you could let 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or more friends know about us, and we accept all good vibes. Thanks so much for supporting us. Witches on planet Earth, not flying off to Mars. There is no planet B. There's a witch wherever